This podcast is brought to you by JList.com. Anime Addicts, JList.com is not only a great place for you to get snacks, figures, and other anime merchandise, but they also have lots of console video games directly from Japan. Probably won't be able to get them too many other places. Bestsellers like Splatoon 2, Toho Project, Umineko When They Cry, Hatsune Miku Project Diva, Girls in Panzer, and even all new titles like Kandagawa Jet Girls DX, Jetpack, Danmachi Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, Infinite Combat, Aerial Life, Persona 5, The Royal, Azure Lane, so much more, hundreds of titles. If you want to get a pretty sweet title right from Japan to play on your Switch or your PS4, head over to JList or JBox.com right now and have a lot of fun. And now it's time to start the podcast.
You're listening to the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. Take your anime addiction to the next level at aaapodcast.com/join. And now, here are your anime addicts.
Anime Addicts, welcome into the 509th episode of the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast, where our sole mission is to make your anime addiction worse. Wherever you're listening from, whatever you're doing at this very moment, thank you for being badass enough to tune into us. I love all of you listening from home. Hello to all of you watching live on Twitch. If you want to join the Addicts, you can head over to our website, aaapodcast.com/join. We have our hentai episodes. We're going to be doing one after the podcast today. We're going to be reviewing hentai from January and making our picks for the February month. We also have our Hobby Addicts episodes where I just talked about climbing a mountain in the dead of winter. Mandi gave an update on the Warcraft raids. Mason gave a talk on a variety of topics, including video games and music. We also do our after parties, 8 additional episodes of exclusive content per month over at aaapodcast.com/join. Guys, you can find us over at twitch.tv/AAApodcast, where you can watch us live, have a little bit of visual aid to go with the show. Of course, we're also across social media, Facebook and Twitter. We have the lovely Caroline, who's handling all of that. Hello to Caroline, wherever she is. We also have our Discord community. If you want to head over to our Discord, boy, it's the place to be. We have so much going on the Discord. You can find the access to that from our website, aaapodcast.com. There's a button on the top. It'll take you straight to the Discord. And, Mandi, how are you today? Mandi calling in from Cincinnati.
And she's still on mute.
She's still on mute.
You're right. I am muted. Hi. Hello, everybody. Sorry about that. I'm doing all right. I'm tired because the new time is tripping me up.
Wait, new time? Did we change the clocks?
Yeah. No. We started much earlier than we
usually do. Today, yes. Yes, we are broadcasting early today because of the Super Bowl, I should add. And, of course, I don't want to forget about Mason. He's been waiting so patiently. Mason, how are you?
I want to forget about me, but I'm doing excellent. I actually like this early start. The sun is shining. I feel like,
wow.
It's just a nice day out today.
Wow.
I'm enjoying it.
Okay, well.
Mason also didn't raid Warcraft till 3 a.m.
You know, I've been playing Hollow Knight in our Discord till like 1 a.m. and
really?
It's been a blast. Yeah, I'll actually be doing it again tonight. So if you want to watch while we're watching the Super Bowl, come on by, and you can do that in the Discord, which is our 5-star review today reminded me. It's free, you dingus. This isn't some podcast where we charge you to get into our exclusive Discord. Nah, we're selling this on the street to anyone. So just come on by. It's a ton of fun. I'm playing Hollow Knight. You can watch me die a bunch. We got our health club going on. That's a bunch of fun. I'm punishing the people who have been lax in their working out, but it's for the best. Anime Club is also happening. We had a very fun, ridiculous discussion of Bento that unfortunately I missed the first half of, but it devolved into hours of like tomfoolery and mayhem over the remaining couple hours, and it was a ton of fun. Due to voting and some RNG manipulation and the impossible, unstoppable power of Moe, the next we're going to watch is the first half of Hanasaku Iraha, and that'll be on February 12th. So if that sounds like interesting stuff to you, come by and discuss with us.
First half? So only 13 episodes?
That's right.
Hanasaku Iraha is not that Moe. I mean, a little bit maybe. But, I mean, let's not, But Mason, speaking of the health club, does climbing a mountain count as like the workout for the week? Or, I mean, how does that,
Any workout counts. If your workout is lifting weights, if your workout is climbing a mountain, if it's cycling, if it's walking, if it's just doing some crunches, doing some yoga, it's all kosher. Okay. It's all good stuff.
All right. Well, all right. Good to hear it. What else are we doing on the Discord?
We also have my manga club, which we will be doing this Wednesday, the 5th, and we are reading the first 2 volumes of Barakamon. So we'll be discussing that. So read it, come to our Discord. And if you go down to the Manga Club channel and check the pin notes, you can find the chapters there that we are reading. And it'll be at 10 p.m. EST, and it's open to anybody. So come and have fun.
And I want to
talk about cute kids.
I want to add one last time. This is probably the last week we have our anime Oscars voting up, and we're probably going to call it after this next week. So if you head over to our website and you look down a little bit on the screen, there'll be a bar you can click on, take you straight to the poll where you can vote for the best anime of the year. I will say that the anime of the year is pretty close still. It's still, I would say it's not determined. So jump in there, make a vote happen. If you don't go to our website, go to social media and find it. But this is the last week, so final push. So, guys, today we're going to be doing a mailbag catch-up. We've been bad about the mailbags, admittedly, mostly because we've just been talking about so much other stuff, but both because we feel bad about that and because it's also the Super Bowl today and we want to be able to control the length of the podcast episode more closely. We're going to be doing mailbags today, so that's pretty cool. We also have a lot of impressions. We're going to be doing Kyokou Suiri, or Inspector. I'm going to be taking care of that. We have the case files of Jeweler Richard, which is, it sounds like a Professor Layton game.
It really rolls off the tongue.
It really does. And we have Somali and the Forest Spirit, a very long Japanese title. Boku no Tonari ni Ankoku Hakaishin ga Imasu, which
English is a destructive god sits next to me.
There you go. And then, are we doing Ishizoku reviewers, or, I mean, that was really
we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Listen, that was really an Enzo pick. He absolutely insisted that he do this anime.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
And then he said he was going to be here today to review it, so I put it on the list. Everybody was excited, and then he's not here, so I wasn't sure if we were going to do it or not. If we don't do that, I will do Orphen. I'm going to do Orphen instead. So, but without further ado, let's get right to it, guys. We got a big show here, and we don't want to waste any time.
Oh, 大ニュースです。It's time for big news of the week.
Take it away, Mandi.
Alrighty. So for this big news of the week, Funimation, after we just mentioned it, has polled, how do you say it again? Ikushoku something?
Ishizoku reviewers.
Yeah. Ishizoku reviewers from their catalog. They said, after careful consideration, we determined that the series falls outside of our standards and we have the utmost respect for our creators. So rather than substantially alter the content, we felt taking it down was the most respectful choice. And that is because that anime is apparently hentai.
Oh no! I like how their statement says careful consideration. What I think happened is they were watching on the laptop, stuff happened, they just closed it and said, nope, and walked away.
All right.
After I watched the uncensored version of episode 3, and I was like, yep, I can see exactly why this happened.
Hey girl, you're looking so fine.
I just have questions about this. Like, I mean, all right. So Funimation hasn't been the shining star of the anime industry lately, I would say. There's been a lot of stuff going on, including
Popo, tell him. Yes? It is true. Kami does not lie. He likes big butts. He cannot lie.
I just wanted to find an excuse to play that drop again, really. But Funimation has not been the beacon of purity, I would say, in the last 2 years. But I have to ask, and I want your honest opinion. I've been talking about this on the Discord. Funimation is a company that deals solely in one thing, anime. And they put this anime on their service for at least a period of time, I understand, and I think it was censored, I think. And then they got a certain number of episodes in and said, maybe this isn't what we want to have representing our company. But the question I ask is, how is it possible that a company that only deals in anime is unaware of anime itself to the extent that they don't even know that this anime is objectionable? I mean, that's like Baskin & Robbins getting a new ice cream flavor in, having it literally taste like poo, and then having it there for like 3 days, and then people complain that it tastes like poo, and then they go, oh, you're right, it does taste like poo, and then they take it out. Like, you got to taste test it. They need to have a screening process. Like, how does this happen? That's the question. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know the specifics behind this one. I know that for the simuldub, this one was getting simuldubbed, they only get the materials to work with between 10 days to 2 weeks before it actually airs. And the process for a simuldub is they get the materials, that goes to the translation team. Translation team just translates it pretty much literally and adds notes to where, different nuances and such. And then that goes to the script supervisor who writes the actual script. And then that goes to the time coder. And then after that goes into like the line count. And they don't even know until then that there's new characters in it that they have to cast for. And then they pull auditions from their pool of voice actors, and that's when the voice recording happens. So it's possible that between like the first couple of them, they're like up to the point where they're like having to quality control and make sure that this is something that we can put on TV. They were like, maybe we can work with it. And then when episode 3 happened, they're like, there is no way we can censor this and make it still enjoyable.
So that raises another question. So the first comment I would make is they need a better process. Like 10 days before, it doesn't really cut it. Like if they're
I think that's when Japan gives it to them, though. I don't know if they have control over that.
They may. I think they may not. But like if they're really concerned about the image of their company as defined by the shows they carry, I would think they'd want to have a screening process so they don't get like these flubs. Like, wow, we didn't know that there was this just heinously sexual scene in episode 5 because, like you would think, I don't know, if I was the son of Funimation, I want to have a screening process in place to make sure that the content fit the morals of the company or whatever you want to say. So I don't know.
I don't even know if the company has it done yet, right? The studio? They don't have to like complete it before.
But doesn't
airing, right?
But doesn't somebody make a script and a storyboard to like?
Oh, I have no idea.
I mean, someone has to know.
I can't imagine Funimation's getting all of that though. Like,
no,
to expect them to like review stuff before, like a whole season in advance, to be like, yes, this will conform with what our standards are. I guess my whole angle of it is not like how it slipped through the cracks, but more so like the whole appeal of the Funimation in this industry is we're here to provide a service. We're here to provide a legal way of doing this outside of piracy. We're going to give you the product that people want, and like failing to do that is just not a good look for like legal streaming sites. And yes, I completely understand it's their company, it's their right. If they're morally objectionable content that they don't want to show, it's completely up to them. It's in their wheelhouse to say, no, we don't think this is right. I mean, I was looking up, they don't have any like parental controls on their website. Like they don't have any way of like marking stuff or saying like, hey, you need to be a certain age to watch this. They very much expect, parents or whatever to subjugate that. So that's kind of an odd look to, not have it at all on your site, if you're so concerned about it, let alone having equally ecchi shows in the meantime.
I don't disagree with you about any of that. I would add that I would add that, and this is for any service, not just Funimation. There are anime that, and there's lots of them. Let's not kid ourselves, that are offensive to certain people, right? And usually it's because there's like, I don't know, it's Vinland Saga because people don't want to watch people getting their limbs cut off, or it's Queen's Blade because people don't want to see borderline rated X anime. But there are services that will carry that stuff. And my take, I guess, to your point is that like I would at least put a disclaimer up because that way people that want to watch it can watch it, and people that don't want to watch it are warned, and then they can sidestep it and just go around it. But
so I did extensive research on this episode. I actually watched on 2 screens both episodes, the censored and the uncensored one,
I watched the
side by
uncensored
side
one.
to see, all the differences. And I can get more into the like extreme details in like the hentai episode. But it was funny at the very beginning in the censored episode, it did have a thing that says like, hey, this show has like explicit sexual content, yada yada yada. Like,
okay, good.
Be warned. And it just wasn't over the text on there, but it was funny. If you've ever seen like the YouTube videos where they do like unnecessary censoring, where they like bleep like the count from like Sesame Street or stuff like that, if you've ever seen those videos where stuff didn't need to be censored, it got censored and it somehow makes it more lewd. That almost happened in a couple scenes, and it was kind of funny. So I highly encourage watching them side by side just for the lulls. But I can dig into that in a episode where we can not spend so much time on this big news.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, the episode 3, what I noticed was that I think needed like the extensive censoring was probably because 2 characters looked very much like children. So I wonder if they were trying to remove all possibility of the like sexual concept between these 2 characters.
Oh, anime.
And that just led to like black screens from what I've heard, and it's impossible to remove it.
It was very funny. The only comment I want to say that I can dumb down enough was there is a device that a character uses in the episode to have a good time, and in the uncensored or in the censored version, it has like the big stamp of like, hey, there's stuff behind here we don't want people to see. Yeah. But in the uncensored version, it's still Japan. It's still like blurred out and like pixelated. Yeah. So they had like double censorship because you could see the pixelation behind the stamp on top of it. And it was just like almost just amusing in how that went about.
I want to add another comment.
I think that's the... Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I think the children part is probably what knocked the show off. They're like, we can't show this.
Funimation's they provide a lot of dubbing. We all know that, right? And I think we all know that the dubbing process in the US isn't as good as in Japan, where we've been over this like a billion times. Like in Japan, they all get in a room and they're having like real acting. And then in the States, it's like an actor is talking to no one and they're just imagining the conversation, which can't be as easy and not as good, I would say. But I just wonder, like, if they don't know what a show is, how can they possibly do appropriate casting for a show? Like maybe a character is a certain way in the first episode, and then by episode 6, they are a totally different character. How can you even do proper character casting for a show? Are you just gonna or maybe they just don't give a damn, but maybe that's like, oh, maybe they just assume that the way that a character is in episode 1 is going to be how it is. Like, for example, I would think like Made in Abyss might be a good example because that show just takes a totally different turn. Like you'd think you'd want to audition characters based on some of the most pivotal scenes in the show to make sure that they fit the role, and not just like based on the first 8 minutes of a series that they happen to know about. Do you guys understand what I'm saying?
I do. I think.
That's the setback of simul dubs, though. They need to get those out as soon as possible, and they only have 2 weeks to do so.
It's the nature of the industry, and they're probably just banking on like the skill of the voice actors to adapt and learn and grow with the character, and just have people who are talented enough to blend into the role. But I completely agree. I mean, no movie would ever go into production without the full scope of exactly what they're going for. But
it's like when they were casting the voices for Perfect Blue. Don't you think the voice actors would want to know that there's like basically a rape scene, like how we do the movie? I mean, you might want to know before you cast someone for the role, because maybe that person doesn't want to voice a rape scene. Like, I mean, it seems pretty like a pretty reasonable thing to be concerned about, and I just don't understand why it's so hard for them to get enough detail about the show that they can actually make decisions like that. Like, it can't be impossible for them to just say, hey, Studio XYZ, can you please give us a synopsis of the whole series in a little bit of detail rather than just feeding it to us like out of a spoon, 1 week at a time. Am I making sense?
I didn't know it was hentai when it came up.
Oh, it definitely was.
I didn't know until 2 days ago.
It was definitely etchy, but...
But you're not Funimation. Like, they should... I just feel like they should know. Anyway.
It's not a good look.
They're backed by Sony, right? Like, Sony has enough clout that they ought to be able to go to a studio and say, please just give us the script or something minimal. Anyway, I don't want to beat a dead horse. I think it's odd. It's just... I don't know. It's weird. But this does happen, I guess, from time to time. Shall we move on?
I think so.
Yeah.
There we go.
Howdy, partner. I seen you riding in on that dusty trail. Welcome to the good, the bad, and the moe.
We got some pretty interesting stuff here. For the good, digital manga sales up nearly 30% in Japan in 2019, smashing expectations. The overall publishing industry in Japan was up 0.2% for the year, bringing the total to about $14 billion. In 2019, this was the first year since 2014 that the publishing market actually grew in Japan. The print market was down 4.3%, as, I mean, no one consumes print media anymore, I feel like. While the digital market was up 24%, digital sales for manga rose nearly 30% in 2019 to about $2.4 billion, making up 84% of the overall digital publishing market in 2019. And they did mention that, they did mention Manga Mura, that the manga piracy site that got shut down about roughly 9 months ago or so, as a likely cause for the growth rate. Now, as people are buying their manga as opposed to, just reading it for free off of Manga Mura. The bad, I think we're all aware of the coronavirus that's been hitting different countries. 3 individuals returned to Japan from the Chinese city of Wuhan and all tested positive for the coronavirus, also spreading the virus to 17 other people in Japan who have all contracted it and possibly spread the virus elsewhere. So I guess the bottom line here for the bad is that the coronavirus is in Japan now. The number of coronavirus cases in Japan, as I said, is 20, and the Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has instructed ministers to come up with steps to respond to combat the outbreak, making sure that people have access to medical exams and lots of medical supplies to treat people who have contracted the virus, stating, quote, I ask ministers to compile measures to use reserves in the state budget and implement them as soon as possible. The new coronavirus is having a major impact on tourism, the economy, and our society as a whole. The government will do its utmost to address the impact. So that's, unfortunate. I hope that virus gets under control quickly, as it seems like it can be contagious before you get any symptoms, which is particularly concerning.
Yeah, I think it was such an impact because it happened right at the Chinese New Year, like right at the time when people are traveling and it has the most potential to spread. So it was just terrible luck.
Yeah. So the moe, I just kind of pulled this one up. It's kind of weird. So I'm actually going to take this music down real quick because I do want to play a couple drops. Japanese comedy duo appeared on AGT, America's Got Talent, making weird noises with their bodies, which was really bizarre. There's a link in the show notes if for those of you that look at that, you can see more details like photos and whatnot. But it's 2 silly guys. See, their names are Yumbo Dump is the name of the duo, and they're just like these 2 guys with big bellies, and they first thing they did on AGT was they stripped half naked so their bellies were out, and then they proceeded to make a variety of odd noises with their belly buttons and their stomachs. And I actually have a couple clips here. If you want to see more, you can obviously find this online pretty easily. But the first one that jumped out at me was they made their belly buttons sound like dolphins. I'm going to play this clip for you. which is like they had like some kind of a weird like air sucking device that they stuck in their belly button, which is pretty weird.
I could do that.
You know what? Me too. And then
before you play it, you got to do the shh, quiet that they tell people.
Oh, you've seen this. You've seen this. Okay.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they say something afterwards. I'm not sure what they say. I can't remember, but
they're like, "Oh, very good." They compliment themselves.
Yeah. And then they made
very wholesome.
And then they did a UFO noise with like a piece of plastic. Which I think I could do that too, but it's just funny. Just a little interesting little flair for the podcast today. If you guys want to check out more details about that, definitely worth checking out on social media. The whole clip was like 12 minutes long, so they sucked up an awful lot of airtime on TV. I highly doubt they won anything, but just fun to see them on there. So that's about it for them.
They won our hearts.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, moving on.
Moving on, we have trivia. So first we have the trivia from the website, which you can find over at aaapodcast.com. The answer for the week was Shiki, and the theme of anime monsters will continue. The person who won the week, though, was Maddie 40 Hands. So congrats to you. And if you think you know what this one is, I don't think I know it, but you might. So it's a pretty good one. Themes anime monsters. Go check it out. We also have the
then his name 40 Hands made me think of the one villain from My Hero Academia. I did finish season 1, and I gotta say, even though I wasn't very impressed with My Hero Academia up through like episode 7 or 8, episode 12 was pretty badass when All Might kind of goes like he was ape shit on those villains and he fights Nomu and it was like a throwdown brawl. It was pretty good. I enjoyed that episode.
The villain that's always face palming.
Yeah.
Yeah, always.
The permanent face palm.
Yeah, that guy
just being grabbed.
That guy is weird. He's weird. Anyways, all right, continue.
Boy just needs a hug. But we also have our in-show weekly trivia question, which is for no prizes except your own ego boost, and we'll let you know what the answer is after our little news break. So it is. I wonder who wrote this. That's the real trivia question.
Possibly watching it.
In the 1999 version of Hunter x Hunter, Menchi gives the applicants a special cooking task that was removed from the 2011 version. What did Menchi want the applicants to make for her? You'll find out soon enough.
I bet it's naughty. Hey, all you anime addicts, Mitsuki is here, bringing you some anime news. Let's get right to it. Back with the saga of Nintendo versus Maricar, the go-kart company that was previously sued for intellectual property infringement. They were a go-kart company that you could ride around and race around Tokyo in go-karts dressed as Nintendo characters. Well, they were previously ordered by the Intellectual Property Court of Japan to pay Nintendo about $500,000 in damages due to money earned on using the IP of Nintendo, and they filed an appeal, and of course the Intellectual Property Court denied their appeal and reiterated that they're still on the hook for $500,000 in damages. For those of you that are following that saga, there is your update, and I imagine that this will be the last time we will probably hear from it. Next up, Japanese bookstores are recommending the top 15 manga for 2020. I'm going to read the top 10 here for all of you manga fans. The Ride on King at number 10, Mieru Ko-chan, or The Girl Who Can See. Kawaii Dake ga Janai Shikimori-san. Miss Shikimori is not just cute. Number 8. My Uncle is in Another World. Sweat and Soap, The Pharmacist's Monologue. The New Boss is very goofy. My Dress Up Darling. Chainsaw Man at number 1 on the list. Spy Family. For those of you that are into manga, you'll want to check those out. I'm sure they're probably going to be made into anime at some point, and you'll be up to date with all the happenings in the manga community. Next up, everybody knows that there's a Gundam Cafe in Akihabara, which has been pretty popular And it looks like it's so popular that the Akihabara Cafe is expanding to 4 times its current size. And it looks like the AKB48 Cafe that was right next door to the Gundam Cafe closed last month, which is kind of shocking to me. And they may be absorbing the other cafe into their own floor space. So if you're a big fan of Gundam, you want to head over to the Gundam Cafe in Akihabara while you're having fun doing other stuff and check it out now that it is 4 times as large, which is pretty great. And next up, a Nintendo Switch update. The Switch has now sold over 52 million units, which is unbelievable considering it hasn't been out that long. You know, it's only been out about roughly 3 years. So pretty fantastic sales for Nintendo's Switch. And I'm sure they're going to keep going as they don't really seem to have plans to put out another Switch version anytime soon, as they had announced also. So if you're a fan of the Switch, rejoice. It's doing quite well and probably will into the future. This was Mitsuki, and this was your anime news break. And now, as always, it's time to get back to the podcast right now. Addicts, if you love the AAA podcast and you want to get even more of our content, you can get our hentai episodes, our hobby addicts, and our after parties. All for supporting the podcast for just a couple dollars a month. You'll get 8 additional exclusive podcast episodes just for you. And now when you sign up, you get access to our exclusive members-only RSS feed that'll let you access the hentai episodes, the hobby addicts, and the after parties, all via your favorite mobile app. That includes the Apple Podcast app, Podcast Addicts, Pocket Cast, and so much more. So honestly, I have to ask, what are you waiting for? Head over to aaapodcast.com/join and help this show stay on the road. Again, support the podcast over at aaapodcast.com/join.
Hi, my name is Tony Oliver, voice of Arsene Lupin III from Lupin III, the TV series, and I am an anime addict.
Welcome back to the podcast. We had an intro trivia question for you. In the 1999 version of Hunter x Hunter, Menchi, which is a type of meat cutlet, by the way, gives the applicants a special cooking task that was removed from the 2011 version. Uh-oh. What did Menchi want the applicants to make for her? It's not nearly as naughty as I thought. The answer is sushi. None of the applicants except for Hanzo knew what sushi was, so she failed all of them. Wow. Well done.
Instead of just roast pigs, she wanted everyone to make sushi for her.
Oh yeah, those
Hanzo's
were
like, yes!
Those are
and
some mean
made
pigs.
sushi, and she was like, this sucks! It was pretty funny.
Well, sushi's a very delicate food. You know, you have to. It's a lot like ramen. You got a lot of things you can't screw up. So.
Yeah, Hanzo was attacked for saying it's just fish on rice.
There you go. Exactly.
Ooh, big oof. Big oof.
Kind of not entirely wrong. All right. So, shall we get to the manga minute?
Let's do it.
And now, let's take a minute for the Manga Minute with Mandi.
This is Mandy's Manga Minute, where I take a minute to tell you about a manga and help you find something new to read. And show off my favorite.
Oh, wow.
This one is called Daytime Shooting Star. And 15-year-old country girl Suzume Yasuno has moved to Tokyo to live with her uncle due to her father's transfer. She bumps into a mysterious man who ends up taking her to her uncle's place after she gets lost. Turns out Suzume will be seeing him a lot more often when she starts school because ... he's her homeroom teacher? So, Daytime Shooting Star is a shoujo romantic comedy series written and illustrated by Mika Yamamori. And it is a completed series, 12 volumes total, and 4 volumes are currently out available in English, both digitally and in print. And Daytime Shooting Star is a high school melodrama with some very simple storytelling techniques. Our main character, Suzume, just moved to the city after living most of her life in the country. And she meets a man named Shishio, she starts to develop feelings for him, but is taken aback after learning that he's actually her teacher. And after entering this unrequited love, she meets more characters in the school, and they start to help each other grow. Mamura is another boy that she meets there, who is initially very shy, but Suzume's insistent friendship forces him to come out of his shell. Suzume becomes the target of a school bully and has to confront them. It's not a series that is without typical shoujo tropes. There is a love triangle included among these. But I did think the characters were interesting enough to keep me through the first 3 volumes. If you like romantic comedy such as Blue Spring Ride, Ao Haru Ride. There we go, got it. You could try this one out. It's pretty short for a shoujo beat title, and it has some very nice visual storytelling techniques as well. And I don't know, has some nice character art as well. But you can try that one out.
Sounds like a nice little heartwarming tale. All right.
Yeah.
Well, they're always at war. You know, the world is never at peace. And now, as we do, let us take a look at the glimpse of the landscape of war. The theater, if you may.
In the game of waifus, you either win or you are late to anime school. Cake will be thrown, ice cold tea will be served. Who will be top in the class and who will be flunked in Mason's Waifu Wars?
I like how animated Mitsugi is today. He is a keyboard cat. He's an actor. He's a master of performance today.
That's right.
He's Super Bowl ready.
He is.
Well, I'm going to a Super Bowl party after we podcast today, where they are catering Mexican food from a Mexican restaurant, and I think there's going to be much margarita availability. So
bless.
I'm hoping I have. In my heart of hearts, I just want to eat unlimited tacos. You know, I just want unlimited tacos. That's what I want.
Have you been pre-gaming that with a Monster?
Yes, I have Monster. I have a green one today. The flavor is Ultra Paradise. And you know what? I think that the theme of your waifu war today is very suitable for my heart of heart wishes, because your theme for February is cooking.
Oh man, well, spoiling the setup, but here we go. I guess I'm going to go through it anyway because I thought it was very funny.
It is.
But here we go. So it is Valentine's month. And since it's a leap year, it means you've got 29 days to find love, even less by the time you're hearing this. So get to it. And I figured, what can I do? I can educate the ladies on how to land that special someone you might have your eye on. And what I always hear is the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. But since I have no heart, my stomach has more room to grow, which is why I can eat so much. So to honor that, the theme of February is going to be cooking girls. All the waifus whose culinary creations are equal to the beauty of the chef themselves. So of course, can't talk cooking girls without everyone wanting to know right off the bat, immediately, who's the best waifu from Food Wars? And I won't leave you waiting. I'll let you know right now. But Before I tell you, I want the chat to try to guess while I build up to it. So in the chat right now, let me know who you think my best waifu from the show is.
Well, I spoiled it already, but sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. When Shokugeki burst onto the scene in 2015, it was like an immediate success. It was riding off the hype from the love it was getting from the manga and Shonen Jump. And I think JC staff took the hype cooking series to new heights, but JC staff was in a weird period. I think they were a little aroused when they were making the show. Within the span of 4 months, they made Danmachi, which had the iconic boob ribbon. Ooh. You had Shimoneta, which is a show about fighting sex with sex. You have the infamous Prison School, which turns the dial of ecchi up to 11.
Oh, yeah.
And a show about cooking. And somehow the cooking show went toe-to-toe with the rest of them. And just the constant eviscerating of clothes from the pleasure of the banhammer of Flavor Town.
Just rub curry on my nipples. Come on.
Exactly. And just food porn for days. And to no one's surprise, it was just full of sort of delicious fetishes. I mean, dishes. But what separates Food Wars from the depth of love it genuinely has is its craft of cooking and the ensemble cast of phenomenal waifus. That makes it great. Yeah. Abysmal Judgment gets it. He knows what's up. Of course, my waifu from Food Wars is none other than Alice Nakiri. She is the pale beauty. She's the cousin to Irina, but like way more cheerful and friendly. She's the master of molecular gastronomy, and she's the master of pouting as well. She's got the best pouts in the game. I love it. She has this short, like silver hair with like an uneven length between the left and right side. It's very similar to Ange from Princess Principal, if you've ever seen that. And she has this like super fair complexion with like a stark white cooking outfit, but devilish red eyes, and like her appearance is super striking. And when she goes into like her cartoonish like chibi form, it's so adorable. She's got like thick black eyeliner and goofy antics, and she's just a blast to watch. She's cunning, she's manipulative to her rivals, and loves playing around with like reverse psychology to mess with their expectations. So she's got a bunch of depth, but she holds herself with high regards and never resorts to like playing dirty or cheating in an unethical way. So she's just a fun character, despite her appearance. But at the heart of it, she loves the competition of cooking, and she goes beyond like the flavors of a dish itself. She recognizes the need for artistic craftsmanship to be a good modern chef, hence fusing skills from beyond the kitchen to succeed. She's one of the most talented chefs to be feared, and is one of the best characters to be waifued. Did you guys have a favorite from the show?
Yeah, Meat Girl.
Yeah, she's pretty hot.
Mito's great.
She's pretty hot. Mm-hmm.
No. She's too just meat. She's too one-dimensional.
Too meat?
She's too meat.
I don't know what that means.
Me neither.
But apparently neither does Discord, because they kicked Mason off.
Yes, they disagree as well.
Cleavered.
Yeah. Mito came, just cleaves you in half, man.
Yeah, just broke that internet connection right in half.
No, I like her. She's a tough lady, and she's fine. She knows what?
She's fine. She's fine.
Oh.
She's good.
I thought you said no. I was like, what?
Oh no.
Out of all the things you can complain about, you can't debate whether or not she is a bold lady.
No, there's actually a ton of great characters in the show.
I mean, Meat Girl is probably the hottest. I mean, she's got that tan skin. She's busty. She's made to. I mean, she's kind of half naked, half also. So I mean, not really. Maybe not fair. One girl's dressed like a chef in the full chef garb, and the other girl's wearing Daisy Dukes. So I don't really. It's maybe not fair, but
yeah, that's just unsanitary.
Yeah, but aren't there other girls in Food Wars as well? I mean,
there's tons of them.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tons of great waifu material, but Alice reigns supreme. But I think we can move on to our main topic.
I think I like the girl with like the bluish, green, blackish hair. She's like another one of the.
Is that Megumin?
One of the students. I can't remember her name, but she's one of the students.
Is that like the main girl, Megumin?
Yeah, maybe.
Megumin?
Yeah, yeah.
That's who it is.
With the pigtails. Yeah, I like her. She's cute. All right. Well, thank you, Mason. Thank you.
You know who my favorite character is, though? The one who always shows off his butt.
Of course.
And
he's very much your type.
Yeah, he is very much my type.
Yeah. And the world was not surprised. And but you might be surprised to find that our extra content are now available on all your favorite mobile apps, and it'll blow your minds right there with that. When you sign up on the website at aaapodcast.com/join, kind of hard to say. You can get our hentai episodes, our hobby addicts, and our after parties all on your favorite mobile apps. Includes the Podcast Addict app, the Apple Podcast app, Pocket Cast, Castbox, Overcast FM, Downcast, pretty much everything. And you'll get that exclusive RSS feed when you sign up. So for your listening pleasure, for your ear holes, make it extra delectable for you, extra easy.
I want to give one quick shout out. Sergeant Cream Puff in the chat also guessed correctly, but I missed it. So you get bonus points too.
I was also going to mention chat where Smogismo said Mandy's type is mostly naked. Yes. That is my type. Thank you.
And my girlfriend just finished The Last of Us, so I think she's probably crushed right now. It's based on the ending of that game. All right, shall we do mailbags?
Yes.
Let's
do it.
It's time for an almighty anime mailbag.
I'm not dancing.
Anime.
Mason's doing it, but I'm not.
Anime.
Man, you didn't do it either.
Mailbag.
Nope. I'm too tired today. Sorry.
First mailbag is from the illustrious Yotaru Vegeta, who's been writing mailbags since the dawn of time, since keyboards existed. Thank you very much. Hello, Addicts. Currently, you are all watching so much anime that you could barely sleep. Yeah, maybe we'll go with that. But can you tell us what your most desperate anime moments were? Did you ever have to borrow money to buy that coveted Blu-ray? Did you ever have to stay over at someone's house to watch an anime on cable? Have you ever maxed out a credit card, wrecking your Crunchyroll subscription? What do you guys have? Do you guys have any desperate anime moments?
I'm gonna think about this.
I can answer while you think. First of all, you had to do the dance. It's a mailbag roundup. Like, it's an epic day of mailbags.
I'm sorry. I'm already failing today. I apologize.
So I've never been that desperate. I mean, I would say the most desperate is just, staying over at someone's house and just like staying up late watching anime that you can't watch at home. Even after your friend falls asleep and you're just like, nah, I'm just gonna keep on mainlining it. Don't mind me. You get your sleep. I'm gonna stay up and watch Toonami and Adult Swim all night. Don't just shh. There we go.
For me, it's probably, I think I have the same experience as a lot of people growing up, hurrying home after school to watch Toonami. Like, Toonami would start at like 4, and you get picked up at school at like, I don't know, 3:30 or something, and then you're like, we gotta get home, oh my god, and hopefully you don't live too far away from home. And back then we didn't have, when I was in high school, there were no smartphones or barely cell phones at all. So, fat chance of that. You can't like watch it on your iPhone on the way home. But so I think that's an experience a lot of people can identify with. Also, because I played soccer and basketball pretty much every year through my senior year of high school, pleading with my mother, who is great, by the way, to record Toonami for me when I had sports practice. It's like, oh, please record it. So, she pretty much had it recorded. So, never missed out, usually. So, but yeah, nothing more desperate than a adolescent boy that needs his Dragon Ball. So...
Dark times.
Maybe when I was in middle school at the time when, or it may even been before that. I can't remember how. I was pretty young though when Card Captors was on, and I always wanted to watch it, but I was always at school, or at least I think I was in orchestra at the time. It was always airing, so I tape it and then go home and watch it. And then one time, my mom taped over them with her soap operas, and I was pissed.
Oh no!
I was desperate to watch Card Captors. And also, right now, just trying to get a cell from the Gon versus Hisoka fight because they keep canceling on me, and I'm trying so hard.
We're gonna have to go over to Japan just for that one thing and track it down.
I just wanted one cell from that fight, and I got one, and it was canceled on me, and they were like, "We don't have it anymore." F.
All right, next mailbag. Albion writes, "Hello, AAA crew. My favorite anime is Your Lie in April, but I was recently at a con and couldn't see any merchandise. My friend thinks it's a sign that this anime is no longer popular. Should I be worried?" And I am very cynical, so I said, yes, it's more than a year old, so it's forgotten. But if you look online, you're going to find stuff for Your Lie in April. And I'm going to be honest, like, you probably shouldn't buy stuff at anime cons all that much anyway, because it's just way more expensive than anywhere else you're going to find it. So, I mean, I don't want to be like a total dick, but like, you'll buy a figure at like an anime con for like $85, and then you'll go look it up online. You'll find it for like $30 on eBay. So, I mean, just go on eBay. Mandy's about to tell you, there's a ton of really good looking figures for this series.
Yeah, if you have access to our show notes, I have like pictures of all of the figures from this series because there's a lot of them. But yeah, pretty much the same. I understand the want to get something at a con though. It's kind of like you're just part of the atmosphere and you get excited and you're like, I just want a thing of my favorite series from here. But yeah, like from what I have experienced at cons, a lot of the vendors focus on things that are very popular at the moment and shonen series, like long running shonen series. Those are the ones that you're going to find a lot of merch for. but like Natsume is still extremely popular in Japan. It's just cons, you don't find anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is merch out there. It's not like it just disappeared. It's probably going to be hard to find at a con though.
Yeah, like Mandi said, con popularity does not equate to
shows popularity. Yeah.
Yes.
But there are a number of beautiful figures of, honestly, I can't even remember the main girl's name anymore. What was her name?
Good question.
Oh boy,
it's been a while. Let me see. Her name was it Kaori? That was it.
Yeah, Kaori. Well, I'm looking at it right now on eBay right now, and there are a litany of great looking figures, and none of them will cost you more than about $40. So go on eBay. Boom.
You go on eBay, make sure you're not getting from China though. Just make sure of that. There are a lot of fake ones up on eBay.
Or it'll take you 30 years to get it. So yeah, that's a good point. So some of these, you pick and choose, but they're all on eBay. I'm looking at them all right now, and there's a lot of great ones of her playing the violin and whatnot. Next mailbag is from Rasta Senpai. What's good, AAA podcast? What's really good? That's got to be a Stink Meaner reference from Boondocks.
Yeah.
You backed up into my car. What you gonna do? All right. So from what I've seen in the few live streams I've been able to attend, it looks like Mandi and Enzo have a few tattoos. But as far as Mitsuge and Mason go, I'm not too sure how they fare on the matter. My question is, what anime-related tattoo would you most want on your body? And if tattoos aren't your thing, what would you get if you were hypothetically forced to get a tattoo? For myself, I'd love to have a grandiose waifu of sorts drilled into me someday, but the decision of who is way too difficult. So for now, I've settled with a little Migi from Parasite on my leg. Thank you, and I hope you continue to bless my ear holes with great content for years to come. I don't have any tattoos.
Why is Migi on your leg? First of all, you should have just got the eyeball.
Duh.
You already got Migi.
You already have a Migi.
So, I mean, I don't know. I'm a big sap for Crest of the Stars, so maybe there's a pretty cool, like, 8-headed snake crest of the Ob family from that series. So, but I don't have any tattoos. I probably won't get an anime tattoo, but I'm more likely to get, like, something from Sonic or Mega Man of anything. But what do you guys think?
Where would you get the 8-headed snake? On your head itself?
On your head.
Yeah, exactly.
Someplace not visible. Yes, on my head. Yeah, I think, yeah. Someplace not visible with work clothes on, probably. Well, Mandi?
Oh, me. I've actually been debating getting a Killua tattoo. I've been thinking about it for a long time. Mason and I were talking about this ages ago. I was like,
months.
Where I was looking up like all these different pictures, and I was like, I kind of want something between this and this. I'm thinking about it. But now I'm gravitating towards Hisoka. I might get just a little Hisoka tattoo.
You just want the star and the tear.
Yeah, I do. On my butt cheeks.
Yeah. You should get Hisoka's butt tattooed on your butt.
So sorry, that was the dumbest thing I've ever said.
I thought you were gonna like say like the star and the thing, so like when you put your hands together, it like forms.
No, just straight up butt cheeks.
People, if you want to make it happen, start a GoFundMe for Mandi to get a meme tattoo.
Yeah, please.
I like Mitz. I also do not have any tattoos. I guess my story with them, I'm not opposed to them. I already have a promise with my younger brother. If I ever get a tattoo, my first one is going to be, I don't know if you can see it. I have a little scar right here. And I said I would get a piece of broccoli tattooed over it.
The Mob Psycho?
No, but that's what I would say it's from. That would be.
Why broccoli?
He just loves broccoli.
Purpose. It was just a little broccoli related cooking accident.
I feel you. Oh, was it? Okay. I was gonna say I feel you. I love broccoli. I
love broccoli too, and yes, I would absolutely style it after the Mob Psycho broccoli. So that would be one thing. The other one that I would get if like my brother joined me would be, I mean I won't, but if I did have to, would be to get the like JoJo star on like the
I thought
top,
about that too.
the back blade. But then I was like, oh, I could mix it up and make it 2 references.
Oh.
I could do the ping pong star from that show, and then so he's more of the Peko than I am, so he'd get the JoJo Peko star, and I'd get the moon from that. And it'd be matching.
Mason,
oh, so cute.
Let's get JoJo stars. We be Joe Bros.
We should be Joe Bros. And then the last one, if it was just me, I'd probably get like the Tatami Galaxy like insignia of like the overhead of the room. That one's always special to me. So those would be the ones I would consider.
Good stuff. I'm excited.
Next
our next one.
Joe Bro.
Joe Bros. We're going to make it happen. The next one is from Epic. Have you / would you ever rate a show a 5 out of 5 that you didn't actually enjoy? Or in other words, do you think you would ever consider a show that doesn't quite jive with your tastes, but is otherwise technically sound with plot, characters, art, animation, music, etc.? Would you ever consider them a masterpiece?
These days, yeah, not really. These days, if I'm not enjoying it, it's not a 5, you know?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I said my enjoyment is the only one that matters to me. So if I didn't like it, I'm not giving it a 5.
There have been times when I've watched a show and I'm like, oh, I'm not really feeling it, but I recognize what it's doing is unique, or they're doing specific things that they're trying to do a thing and they're doing it well, but it just doesn't interest me. And then for example, like a recent one would be like Oh Maidens. Like that show, I gave it a higher score than I think my enjoyment level was, but I really appreciated that they went for it in that show. Like they did some things with like, you know, the whole adolescent coming of age theme that's not always done, and I appreciated that, so I bumped it up a little. But a 5 out of 5, I mean, I haven't given a 5 out of 5 in a well, I guess maybe I gave one to Vinland Saga probably. I was gonna say in a while, but I lied.
Thorkel is just so good. You can't.
He is pretty good.
Yeah, like I did the same thing with like My Hero Academia. I'm not a huge My Hero Academia fan. I couldn't really get into it, but I understand how important it is to the anime community, because it got a lot of people who weren't really into anime, and that's awesome.
Sure.
Yeah, we were actually talking about this in the Discord a couple days ago about like 10 out of 10s or 5 out of 5s, and it's like, you know, I have a certain like cutoff for like an exceptional show that has very few flaws. I can't even say flaws because I can't speak right. Who's like, you know, proper and correct and does everything great, but like at the end of the day, it needs to have that little extra something that either connects with me personally or I just like enjoy beyond other stuff to give it that final like push. So just technical competency is not enough for like a perfect score in my mind. It's got to have that enjoyment that I can get behind.
A special thing.
It's got to just hit me
it's
so well.
It's an ooh.
Yeah. It's got to have it the sauce.
It's got to have it the sauce. Yeah. That is a reference to before we start streaming.
Yeah, exactly. Now it just sounds out of context, which it was.
Alrighty, our next mailbag is from Pimpin' Love. And they say, Mitsuki, I think for the 500th episode, it just says you get, I think they meant you should get old and new crew members together for an anime overdose. Thanks for being who you all are, and farewell, bitches.
Pimpin' Love, is that like thuggin' love? Like when you're in that special moment with a woman, and right before that special time comes, you pull a shirt over her head and beat her with a chair? So that's another Boondocks reference.
The all caps with the lowercase n in the middle makes it look like a Japanese like rock band that you'd see like on like an OP or ED, like that kind of font where you're like, they're trying hard to look stylistic. But yeah, that's proof that it's been a while since we've gotten through some of these mailbags, which is why we're doing this episode, because we're on what, 509?
Yes.
It's been a hot minute, so hopefully 500 was fun. I had fun with it.
Yeah, we all had fun, except KJO's mistake.
Not the sport. Yeah, it's kind of a big oop.
Never forget 500. The next one is from Cryptic Visions, multiple Z's at the end. Tokyo 2020 Olympics are just around the corner, and it got me wondering about a few things. One being that with all of these athletes and tourists coming in, there is a possibility of what's called the Olympic baby boom, and also, so very slight adoption of culture. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Rip Pops.
Grooving it, baby.
Hey, girl. You're looking so fine.
For those of you who aren't RSS members, that's essentially the soundtrack to all of our hentai episodes. So that's what you get for 40 minutes straight every week.
I'm going to be honest. Like, ideally, people will just have mass amounts of sex at the Olympics, and maybe the population will spike. We'll have a. Not only will the population of Japan spike, but it'll be like they'll all be super baby athletes. And because, I mean, Japan needs it so bad. Like, they are really not doing well. But just like every Olympics, I'm sure that they're like Playtex or whoever the hell it is, whoever makes all the condoms, they'll probably deliver like 500,000 condoms to Japan, and they'll all get used. Or maybe they'll just not send them because they know that we're trying to save Japan here, and then we'll get a little more of this.
You do realize all of that that occurs in the Olympics is usually like the tourists and the athletes visiting. Just because you have sex in the country doesn't make the babies of that nation. Like,
Stop it!
Just go back home.
Lies. Lies.
Big brain move, Mason.
Anybody, I'm not going to talk about it too much because we want to get to more mailbags. But like, if anybody who's curious, go read about the sex at the Olympics. It is unbelievable. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. Like, I guess when like 6,000 athletes with like blazing hot figures and stuff all come together, they just end up having lots of sex. And they're probably bored when they're not competing. Go read about it. It's nuts. So
what a way to pass your time.
Yeah.
I will say I read a bunch of articles about how like the dorms and like lodging for the Olympics is like all made out of recyclable like material and stuff for like easy like disposal and stuff. They don't look like very sexy rooms, so hopefully that curtails that a little bit. But
well,
got a great country to see.
Yeah, there's about 45,000 abs at the Olympics, so that'll probably increase the sexiness. All right, next mailbag.
I believe they're pronounced abus.
Abus.
Abu.
The next one is another mailbag from Yotoro Vegeta. And they write, let's pair up AAA. I know that half of the hosts are happily attached. I don't know the status of Enzo and Mason. Enzo is married to his work, and Mason has too many waifus and husbandos to choose from, I guess. Regardless, what character do you think would be an ideal match for each AAA host? Gender or species or even doesn't matter. Why don't you guys go first?
There's no rules.
There's no rules, yeah.
There's one rule.
Mandi?
Yes.
I'm sorry for you.
Why?
Because you are going to get murdered no matter what
Big
you do.
F in the chat for Mandi.
It's not true.
Light up your candles, your cell phones for Mandi, because Mandi's going to end up with either Thorkel or Hisoka, and it's just not going to end well,
First of all, Hisoka's not a husbando. He's a one-night stando. You just hit and leave. You don't stick around with that.
One-night stando.
One-night stando power,
okay,
yeah.
Okay.
This must be the work of an enemy stando.
It is an enemy stando, yeah. One-night stando. And you're gone.
For Enzo, it's Nana.
Just for the butt.
Oh my! I didn't expect that. Enzo's gonna take Nana for sure. Mason, I really don't know, but I'd say Serika from Space Brothers, pretty good guess. She's pretty great. And for me, she is great, isn't she? And for me, well, I think it's probably Naushka. So I did propose to Naushka online once when on the Facebook when I was like 18, and she said, "No, I can't marry you. I'm already married to the forest." And I was like, "Oh, well, that's very in character for you, but now I'm sad." So. Mandi, what do you think? Oh, Mandi has a retort.
I already said my piece. Also, Chibi Rob in the chat said you're too old for Hisoka. God damn it!
Oh,
don't judge me.
Yeah, Hisoka.
No, it's 1999 Hisoka, not the 2011.
Yeah.
That adds a couple years.
It's like, oh, are you older than 8? Well, Hisoka doesn't care. He doesn't want you.
It's not true.
Well,
And also, Thorkel has a weakness for very spunky, angry little girl, like not girls, but little women. It's he what was it? There's a scene later in the manga I don't want to spoil, but one woman just stands up to him and punches him, and he's like, "Women are scary," and walks away. So I'm good. I survive Thorkel. But for me, I said Mitsuki belongs with Kiss Shot from the Monogatari series. You haven't seen it? Mason will agree with me.
Look up like Kizumonogatari Kiss Shot.
Yeah. Don't look up Shinobu. Look up Kiss Shot.
Yeah.
This is a vampire lady, and I like how much you love your vampire ladies.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Although the one cat, the silver-haired cat girl is pretty good.
Black Hanikawa.
I can't remember her name. Yeah,
I can see that too.
Yeah, but you can't say, "Oh, Kiss Shot Arsola Aryan Hot Under Blado."
Hato under blade.
Oh my. Hato under bubo.
Exactly.
Okay.
Mason's one true waifu, his one true love in anime is Akashi from Tatsumi Galaxy. See, he already has her up on the wall, so.
Not Iggy up on the wall, as chat was saying earlier, saying, "Oh, where's your Iggy cell? I've got all this room for it now." But
when is your birthday? Guys, start a GoFundMe for Mason's Iggy picture. We're gonna force it on his wall.
Ooh, a fate worse than death, no doubt. So my picks for Mitz, having a little more insight to his life, I figured a good waifu for him would be Hibiki from How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift. She's got this like upbeat attitude. Mm-hmm. She can join in on the fitness goal, and she has that knowledge of food that I know what's going on over there.
Yeah, she's pretty much perfect. You're right.
And for Mandi, I picked a unviolent boy. I picked Yang from Legend of the Galactic Heroes. Like, I could see them just like swaddling around the house and just like being super comfy and getting really into like WoW and just like in a world without war, he can definitely be a good gamer.
We're gonna play Total War together, and he's gonna kick my ass, and I'm gonna love every second of it. It's true.
It's very true.
I forgot to do mine. I said mine was Rohan because Rohan, first of all, is very nice looking. And number two, he has apparently loads of money if he can buy mountains. Yeah. Three, he can make manga for me. I'm good.
I mean, Yang's pretty good, but I think we all know that Siegfried's better.
I mean, it's true, but not for Mandi.
All of this.
Yang is better for Mandi. That's the truth.
I know. I'm just starting shit.
Oh, don't bring up. Our waifu wars have legitimately caused battlefields in the Discord. Yeah, and I love it. I love every second.
Yeah, if y'all want to come trash Mason, come to Twitter.
Yeah, or in the Discord. You just beat me up anywhere. It's fine. I like how instead of Carol and Tuesday, where you can move mountains and Rohan can just buy them.
Yeah, he just buys them.
Exactly. Why move them when you can just own?
And then he has to sell his Sailor Moon figure collection in order to afford
a true loss, but that's commitment.
All right. That was a good mailbag. Next.
It was great. Tanya writes, what is everyone's favorite Hunter x Hunter arc?
I like Greed Island. I think that's a pretty typical answer. I like Greed Island, though.
No one really likes Greed Island more than any of the others. But it's not a bet. There's so many good arcs.
Excuse you?
There's so many good arcs, but nothing is better than York New. York New is by far the most... I mean, everyone's like, oh, the Chimera Ant arc, like there's so much going on, but like York New just has it doesn't waste as much time, and it just has an epic story, and there's so much happening in such a short period of time, and it really feels like when the series got going and reached its peak for me.
Yeah, I really enjoyed York New as well. And it was such a weird shift between the Heavens arena to York New. It was such a big tone shift. And I was
absolutely.
I love the Phantom Troop so much. It's like they are villains, but they're also like their own little family, and you just can't hate them. And also, but I do love Greed Island because that has some peak Hisoka action in there.
Oh no!
And also, Hisoka's peak. Alright, I'm done. We're done with this. No more. I promise I'm going to stop.
All right. Or don't. Cork Mars writes, "Hello, AAA host. I'm back. And I have another epic, important question. This time, I want to hear all of the hosts all the hosts love most about our favorite son, Mason. Mason has to be the most controversial host with all of the devastatingly funny hot takes he delivers.
Don't be an elitist.
Even so, I think we can all agree that he has a lot of great qualities. My favorite thing has to be how attentive he is, whether he's watching anime or talking with someone. Mason is a great listener and has an impressive eye for detail. I also love when he shits on bad anime.
I'm gonna shit on your face. You're welcome.
So what do all the hosts appreciate about Mason the most?
I love Mason's dedication and his reliability. He is always he's always there to help with something.
That's right.
And if you need it, he'll be there. Like, even if he has to leave hockey just a little bit early, like rush out of there to get to Manga Club. It is great.
Oh, thank you.
Reliability is a great thing.
He shows up. that's
and
it.
I also like Mason's I make a funny joke.
Listen, after doing this podcast for like 11 years or whatever, I can tell you, I appreciate reliability a lot. Very important.
Yeah.
But for me, it's got to be the willingness to adventure for the sake of finding all the best foods. Mason's like Toriko. I believe he would climb to like the most dangerous location in the world simply to get like an egg or something. He would do that.
I probably would. You're
That's
not
right.
wrong.
But no,
guys.
Mason is and the willingness to just speak your mind about an anime, even if you know that a lot of people won't agree because it's like, oh, this anime is like a crowd favorite, but you know what? I just think it's not good. Mason will just let you know how he feels. He's not going to soften it for you. I appreciate that.
Doesn't appreciate Yang.
I appreciate him. He's just not the best.
He is the best. Mason.
No, you guys are so nice. And thank you, Cork Mars, for writing in. We actually met, Enzo and I met him in at Anime NYC, Team Oninoki for life. And we dragged him up and down the aisles as I searched for stickers, and Enzo ate food and played games. So it was a ton of fun hanging out with you, and thank you for the blush-worthy mailbag.
Chet says Mason shits on everything. Mason is a husbando. Mason is like a cinnamon roll. He's good at dying over and over again in Hollow Knight.
It's very true. I don't know how I'm like a cinnamon roll, but I like it. I think.
He'll eat that cinnamon roll though.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, shit.
Okay, we have a big long one from Mega Mac, and I'm gonna blaze through this real quick. Hello, AAA host. Thank you so much for making my commute to work better and my anime addiction worse. You guys always do fantastic reviews, and I value your opinions even when I disagree with them. However, I have noticed a trend after the Digimon... Nope. I scrolled too quickly. Demon Slayer. Digimon Slayer. I'd watch that crossover.
Yeah.
After the Demon Slayer and My Hero Academia reviews, where Mitz has made similar complaints regarding stakes in the show. Specifically, the shows don't kill off characters, and so there are no real stakes. However, I feel this complaint is not totally valid. These shows are still young relative to long-running older series. Yu Yu Hakusho did not have a hero's death until episode 52. Hunter x Hunter did not have a death until 85. Dragon Ball did not have a death until 103, which was nullified by the Dragon Balls anyway. Spoilers. And Naruto did not have a protagonist death until part 2. In fact, I would argue that having the strongest hero in the show loses powers in My Hero moves the story along better and has a larger impact to the world than a specific character death in Yu Yu Hakusho. But at that point, blah, 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 blah. Obviously, you're entitled to not liking the show, but you say your dislike stems from something the shonen genre has always done, and ignoring the same flaws in other shows is a little unfair. Thanks again, and keep up the good work.
I'd say stakes is more of an Enzo comment. I think Enzo's the one that like kind of coined that phrase here. But first, I would say that any complaint or opinion that anybody has, whether it's me or anybody else, is valid for the most part, right? And but to me, it does make fighting shows boring when you know nobody's gonna die. So it's like, why even have the fight scene? Like just have the hero win and end it because you know they're gonna win. And not all anime, not the other anime are not excused from this either. Like, it's not like Dragon Ball gets a pass because no one ever dies or whatever. But this is one of the reasons why people love Game of Thrones, because nobody was ever safe. And it's also why one of the reasons why I love JoJo, because they just kill so many characters you just never know and what's going to happen. And so I don't know. I appreciate that about a show, and like I just watched My Hero Academia season 1. They defeat like 147 villains, and none. And this is, I guess, a little bit of a spoiler for the end of season 1 of My Hero. So if you haven't seen the end of My Hero season 1, just skip like 2 minutes ahead. But like a guy gets his face literally just pounded into mud, and then another guy gets cut clean in half, and 147 villains lose. And none of the heroes die. I'm like, come on, like it's just not that realistic. But and now that they've done that, I just expect nobody will ever die. That was the perfect time to kill off All Might. It would have fit in the story real well. It could have been well, I mean, maybe he'll die later, but like they could have done it right there, but they didn't. And I was like, it's like, how does the guy that looks like he's in a spacesuit not get killed? He was cut clean in half, literally.
Yeah.
In half.
Yeah, since you just watched it, it's been a long time since I've seen season 1. Does anybody die? Like any villains or anybody?
They don't. Well, I don't know exactly because I'm not. I think there are some villains where I'm not sure if they're dead or if they're just like removed from the show for a while. But I mean, they definitely incapacitate or kill all the villains that attack the school, and then none of the heroes get killed. So I don't know. It's kind of just an example, but I don't know. I mean.
I was saying, I think this was probably addressed directly to me. That is one review that I very much regret, because it's a very awkward one, because I was the only one that watched it, and I wasn't the one that picked it, and I hadn't seen the season before, and it was kind of thrust on me, so that was a very awkward situation. And I'm not really. It's not private that I'm not the biggest My Hero Academia fan. I don't hate it, and I think it's fine. It's just I'm not like as diehard as everybody else is about it. But for the particular one in the review that we went over, my issue with that is the same as what Mitz had, is that I felt that the character, I'm just going to try to be very as vague as possible. The character that cheated death, I felt served his purpose, and his death would have been very meaningful and had caused a lot of growth in other characters who definitely needed it. That was my issue with that whole part. And I mean, I don't watch a ton of shonen series. I hadn't seen Hunter x Hunter back then, but after having seen Hunter x Hunter now, a fuck ton of people died. Like a lot of people die in that Hunter exam. He's so good, kill shit.
Yeah.
And just like seeing all these other people, like, yeah, they're not main characters.
Right.
But seeing how dangerous this world is straight from episode 3, like you have a character who every time the Spanish guitar starts playing, people die. And that, I don't know, it creates more tension knowing that your favorite characters are in this very dire situation. I don't remember My Hero ever giving me that tension, because I felt like not even the villains died. I could be wrong. I can't remember season 1. It's been a long time.
Well, I think they do say. I think they say, oh, like the villains were captured or something. And I was just I was like, oh, okay, well, I thought they were dead, but maybe not.
Yeah, especially when you have so many unique, very over-the-top powers that could be very dangerous. I don't know. It's a little weird that nobody, like, I don't feel like anyone's in any actual danger ever.
Well, I thought they were going to kill All Might in that episode, but they didn't. But the fact that I didn't know if he was going to die or not, and we're still spoilers, right? But the fact that I didn't know if he was going to die or not, definitely made the fight better. Because I was I was like on the edge of my seat. I was like, wow, this character's really good. Is he going to die? I don't know. But then, I didn't. But yeah.
So how do you feel now about going forward?
I mean, I thought that was the best part of My Hero season 1 anyway. Like, I was totally engrossed in it. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. I'm still going to watch it.
Yeah. Like, I definitely don't think death is everything. Like, I don't think a series needs characters to die to be interesting or good. It's just in that very specific example with My Hero, I felt that character served his purpose, and it would have created a very dramatic and moment that would have helped the other characters grow a lot from it. So I don't know. Mason, do you have any thoughts?
I do have thoughts. I do want to play devil's advocate briefly. I feel like the slight difference is, while I agree with your points that death is not necessary, it can help raise the stakes and be more interesting. I feel like the difference is what the appeal of a show is. In a show like Dragon Ball, which to me is mostly a fighting show, I want the stake of death to be there. It's necessary to have any sort of intrigue. Otherwise, it's just, the outcome is irrelevant because we already know what's happening. In a show like My Hero, for example, I am a little bit more okay with there not being that risk of death, because to me, the appeal of the show is not the fights. It's these characters growing up, learning to control their powers, the interplay between them. Like, by far, by a mile, my favorite My Hero Academia episode is one where they just go around and show off their rooms.
Yeah, that was the best part.
Like, that's just that, like, it was so well designed. Each character, I got so much love out of them. Like, that's exactly what I wanted to see. Like, I didn't need stakes in that episode, but that interplay is what I was looking for, that big cast. And that's exactly what I loved about it. So, for death not to occur later on, since the fights aren't really what appeals to me about that show, I'm not as let down by it. But I agree that death is usually a thing that I prefer in shows because it does help raise the stakes. I mean, Legend of the Galactic Heroes, all day, every day, people are getting snipped and sniped and bloodied, and
no one's safe in Galactic
No one
Heroes.
is safe, and it definitely is better for it. So, I don't know, just my 2 cents.
All right, well, let's cut it. Let's call it here, guys. Get to the...
Okay.
We got a lot of impressions to do, so we do have an in-show trivia question, though.
Yeah, so our in-show trivia question, which we will answer after the break, is, in the anime Inspector, what price did the lead heroine play for becoming a god? Or pay for becoming a god, sorry. Well, that's just a play. But we will answer it after the break, so don't go anywhere.
Hey, all you anime addicts, Mitsuki is back, bringing you some more anime news, leading you off with a very cool story that I am very interested in. The NHK is doing a poll, and they are going to be doing polls for your favorite Final Fantasy characters, bosses, summons, and favorite song. And they have already gone through a lot of the top, I guess it's maybe 100 long or so, but they're down to the final 10. In the top 20, from 20 to 19, the favorite characters were Vincent, Celeste, Kain, Terra, Gilgamesh, Aaron, Noctis, Squall, Sephiroth, and Emmett Selch. And it's pretty surprising Squall and Sephiroth both being not in the top 10. Very interested to see what the final 10 characters will be in this poll. If you want to vote in it, you can go to the NHK website and vote in the poll itself. And lots of characters to pick from, of course. And I'm very interested to see how the results turn out, so I'm sure I'll be back reporting on that later when that finishes up. Next up, Inuyasha is getting a smartphone game RPG later this year. The Korean developer Hammer Entertainment announced on Monday that it is developing an iOS and Android smartphone role-playing game based on the Inuyasha franchise called The Awakening Story. It's going to be the first ever mobile game in Japan that is going to debut in the first half of this year, so big news for Inuyasha fans. And it's being billed as the first full 3D app game based on Inuyasha. It's going to feature Kagome, Inuyasha, and other characters whom you can befriend as the story progresses. So very interesting. If you're into Inuyasha, look out for that smartphone game coming out pretty soon. Next up, the Supreme Court of Japan has ruled that nude CG images based on child photos are indeed pornography, to which I say no shit. It looks like the Supreme Court of Japan's first petty bench rejected an appeal of the graphic designer Akashi Takahashi, who was convicted back in 2016 for creating and selling realistic computer graphic images of naked underage girls. So the judge, Takuya Miyama, ruled that, quote, child pornography is a depiction of what can be visually recognized as a child's body, as the CG is based on actual nude children's photographs and depict a child's body. It is child pornography. So the appeal has been denied, and I don't even know why we were even having this conversation in the first place. Next up, Love Live is back with a new TV series. The new anime TV series' tagline reads, Watashi o kanaeru monogatari, hello Love Live. So they're having an open casting for voice talent for the anime. It's going to begin on March 12th. Women must be between ages of 15 and 22. And as of April 1st this year, need to be able to move to Tokyo upon getting accepted. So if you are a fan of Love Live and you're a young girl living in Tokyo, maybe you want to go to Tokyo and try out to be a Love Live voice actress. For the rest of you that are just fans of Love Live, there's another series coming out. Everyone seems very excited about it. So look out for this coming out pretty soon. This was Mitsuki, and this was your anime news break. And now, time to get back to the podcast. Anime Addicts, JList, and JBox.com are not only a great place for you to get Japanese snacks and other cool merchandise, they also sell lots of console video games as well, and a lot of these titles are things that you're only going to be able to get from Japan. Some of their newest titles include Kandagawa Jet Girls DX Jetpack, so if you're a fan of that property. They also have the newest Danmachi game, Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? Infinite Combat. Other titles include things like Flowers. They have the Grisaya trilogy. They have Persona 5 The Royal, Splatoon 2, Clannad, To All of Mankind, Yokai Watch, Sword Art Online, Dead or Alive, so much more. Head over to JList or JBox.com right now. Check out their selection of console video games for the Switch and the PlayStation 4.
Hi, this is Tiffany Grant. Remember me? Asuka Langley Soryu. Anyway, I'm a total anime addict, and if you're not listening to Anime Addicts Anonymous, what are you, stupid?
Welcome back to the podcast. The intro trivia question in the anime in Spectre: what price did the lead heroine pay for becoming a god, other than being harassed by yokai all the time? She gives up an eye and a leg. Not an arm and a leg, an eye and a leg. And she likes you to know that because she's like always tapping on her fake eyeball. That's the answer to the trivia. Pretty easy question. I mean, you kind of knew it if you watched it. All right, well, we also have a 5-star review, so let's get to it.
It's time for iTunes review.
This is where we go to iTunes and pull the 5-star reviews that praise us because we like to feel good about ourselves. This one was written by the great Azulet, who is a member of the Discord and we've hung out with before and is super nice and is a joy to hang out with. And she writes, the regular weekly AAA podcast shows, both audio and on Twitch, that's right, thank you for promoting us, offer well thought out anime discussion topics and recommendations on new seasonal anime shows. The hosts are enthusiastic and bring their A+ game every time. I also highly recommend joining the AAA podcast community on Discord. Heck yes, which, as she mentioned, is free, no strings attached. And it is easily one of the most friendly and welcoming groups and offers a ton of opportunities dedicated to watch anime, discussing manga, games, food, and more. You can also join at several paid membership levels on the website to get more content. Thank you for all your hard work on the show and for creating a positive and fun anime Discord community. Much love.
Aww, thank you.
That was not a paid review, by the way.
It was not.
That was just a very nice review, and we appreciate it immensely. Thank you so much for being part of the community and hanging out.
And Azalette, thank you for always coming to Manga Club.
Yeah.
And Anime Club.
Reminder, we got both of those coming up. 5th and the 12th. 5th is manga, 12th is anime. So get hyped. We're rocking on. Got opinions. Mandem. We're in it.
Mandem.
Mandem.
So now we have impressions.
Impression time, believe it.
Yep, that's right.
Yep.
Are we doing?
Two.
Yeah, are we doing Ishizoku reviewers or am I doing Orphen?
It's up to you. What do you?
Let's do Orphen. Let's do Orphen.
All right. Well, I have 2 as well. I guess Mason has 1. So who wants to start? It's either you or me. It's either you or me, Mandi.
I can go real quick.
All right, go ahead.
My first one is A Destructive God Sits Next to Me. It is being adapted by ENT Squared. It is a manga adaptation, and you can find it on Crunchyroll. This series, I originally picked it because it looked very similar to Outburst Dreamer Boys, which is another series that aired, I think it was last season.
Yep.
And that one ended up taking me by surprise. I went into that show not expecting anything at all, and I walked away just loving the characters and the comedic timing of it. And this show had a very similar premise. So I thought, I'm going to give this one a shot because you never know. The last one surprised me. And I haven't read the manga. I didn't know anything about that. But in this one, the main character, Koyuki, acts as like the straight man of the series. So with his classmate Kabuto, who is suffering from the like chinibi, or I say suffering. He has suffering is something. Yeah, he Shinobu syndrome, where he thinks that he is a dark lord and that his eye is possessed with dark powers. So he puts an eye patch over it, that whole thing. But in reality, he's just a very awkward and shy boy. And in the first 3 episodes, we meet a couple of other classmates. There's Tsukimiya, who is like a sadistic boy who only like hangs around them because he likes mocking them pretty much. And he apparently can read minds, or he either that or he is just very smart. And there's also Hibiki, who thinks that he is a Grim Reaper, and but he also cannot talk to girls and he has horrible luck. I know that comedy is very subjective, but when I watched these 3 episodes, I thought to myself that it was not nearly as fun as Upper Streamer Boys. I wasn't able to enjoy myself anywhere near as much as I did with the previous show that had a very similar premise. The characters are not as likable like as the lovable dorks in Outburst. Koyuki always has like some kind of really smart ass thing to say about his classmates, and he doesn't really show any hint of kindness towards them from what I remember. But like even in Outburst, the main girl Mizuki wasn't willing to play along with their games, but still showed like a growing fondness for them. I don't know, this one I don't feel that coming from him. Kabuto in this, the one who does have the Chunibyo syndrome, he's more frustrating to me than funny. And he holds like an entire class up because he brought a puppy in and doesn't want to get rid of it. And he prevents Koyuki from being able to study. He starts playing the same game as Koyuki and he's playing and ruins it for him. I don't know. I wasn't able to laugh along with any of his antics as I did like in the other show. But the animation and character designs are very basic. Nothing really stood out to me. The Chunibyo show genre is also kind of becoming like overplayed, in my opinion. And this has the misfortune of coming out right after one that I thought was very funny and enjoyable. That definitely doesn't help it. And I hate comparing these 2 unrelated shows because there might be something in here that people might grab onto and like have a preference for over the other ones. But for me, it's very difficult not to compare the 2 and say that Outburst Streamer Boys was far more enjoyable in every way. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to be not passing. I'm so sorry. I'm definitely going to be failing this. I'm definitely going to be failing this one for review. But it is on Crunchyroll. If it's something that sounds like you might be interested in, I don't know. You might find it funnier than I did. But
no, this was unwatchable.
Damn.
Unwatchable.
Happily ever after.
Of course, Elizabeth.
What a pile of shit.
Damn.
Did you have a word, Mason?
I could only make it halfway through the first episode. I'm impressed you made it so far. I mean, not to like go on too long, but like Outburst had a huge cast of all sorts of different characters, one of which was a Chuni character, and he played well with others.
Yeah.
This is just, the joke is there's a Chunibyo character. Haha, he's going to do something that's the same thing you've seen 1,000 other times. The production was just so bog standard. And yeah, Mandi said everything. It's just not good.
Okay. I will do Kyokou Suiri. So, aka Inspector, which is /Spectre, probably easier title for people. It's a show from Brains Base. For the longest time, I thought Brains Base was gone. But maybe not. I mean, I guess not. But I guess they just haven't done much in a while that really was... Like, I'm looking at their credits here, and they did Grimm's Notes, which I watched that for an impression. That show was really bad. And I don't know. The last thing I can remember that they did was like Letter B. How long ago was that? Like forever ago. Anyway, so Kyokou Suiri, as we just mentioned in the last in-show trivia, is about a girl. She's 11. At the age of 11, yeah, it makes more sense. She her name yeah, exactly. Her name is Kotoko, and she was abducted by yokai, which are like evil spirits, more or less, for 2 weeks, and she becomes their god of wisdom, who she acts as like a mediator between the spirit world and the human world, and she agrees to do it, but as we said in the trivia, she loses her eye and her leg, and then the show kind of takes place much later than that. The synopsis says 6 years, so that'd put her at about like senior in high school level. And there's a boy named Kuro who's older than her. He's 22, and he has powers as well, but mostly in the first 3 episodes of the show, you'll just know he has some kind of supernatural ability because all of the yokai are afraid of him. No matter how fearsome they look, they're all like, "Holy shit, this guy's like really bad." And if I recall, he gets his power by eating. He eats some different types of yokai, and the yokai view him as being like monstrous because of it. And
he chows down on some mermaid flesh.
Right, yeah, mermaid flesh, yeah. I'm not sure why chowing on mermaid flesh is so bad, but he does have abilities. Like I think he regenerates his arm in the first episode. Anyway, so the show, the first episode, you pretty much get introduced to the characters. She has a crush on him for reasons that don't make much sense, which I think she like saves him from falling backwards or something, and so she's like, "I saved your life once," and I'm thinking, well, not really, because he fell over, and but anyway, like a barrier gets broken at a library, and this giant like manticore-esque looking monster, it looks like a giant lion, more or less, gets free, and they go to take care of it. And they engage in an action-packed scene, sort of, where they're trying to deal with this monster, and then that's how you kind of see that they both have abilities. A lot of the times, I think her abilities manifest because not only can she communicate with the yokai, but she's also able to like affect them. Whereas in the first 3 episodes, you'll see moments where humans try to fight a yokai, more or less, for lack of a better word, and can't. Like their weapons will pass right through them, but she's able to hit them. The boy, Kuro, loses an arm, I think it was, in the first episode, and he regenerates it. So they have abilities. The bulk of the first 3 episodes takes place in the second episode and the part of the third episode where like kind of like a murder case is sort of discussed, and that's I think where they kind of highlight the girl's role in the show, where she's a giant snake. I'm not even sure how to differentiate like a yokai from just a spirit, but a snake who isn't quite evil, but I guess probably still counts as a yokai, is in the mountains.
No, yokai are evil.
Gotcha. So So a yokai snake who's very large is in he rules over this mountain area, and there's a lake near where he hangs out, and a woman dumps a body in the lake, and then he's very perplexed by why did all this happen? What's going on? And so he gets this girl. They call upon this girl Kotoko to go kind of talk to him about the criminal investigation that took place. Why did she do what she did? What exactly happened? Because the snake just doesn't understand. And then of course Kudo shows up, while she's explaining everything, and he's a million times bigger than Kudo, but he's still terrified by him because he's done monstrous things. And so she kind of steps through all the details of the police investigation. So this is definitely an anime that would appeal. I think it appeals a little more to people who actually like crime drama maybe, or mysteries, because the second episode and then maybe the first 7 minutes of the third episode very much play out like she's basically telling you the details of a crime that happened while they show it sort of visually in the in the anime. So if you're interested in criminal investigations or murder mysteries or anything like that, that little kind of twinge in the show probably would appeal to you. And then in the third episode, they kind of get started on this other arc where there's a woman who she's in the promo art for the show. She's like a yokai who has a giant steel beam, and she's definitely not a friendly yokai, and causes a couple car accidents, and they just kind of start investigating that and towards the second half of the third episode. This is an anime for people who like supernatural shows and also like crime drama, I would say, or mysteries, because it really definitely hits on both of those things. And I don't think this show is bad, really. It doesn't interest me very much. I lose focus when things don't move along, and hearing the girl Kotoko just kind of talking about this crime for what was almost 30 minutes was a little long for me. And I think I watched most of this while I was on the treadmill at the gym, and I kept checking the time. I was like, how many more minutes does this episode have? How much more is there? And it just seemed like every episode took a long time to get finished. And so I don't think that wasn't really a very good sign for my interest and enjoyment level of it. And a couple other comments about the show. I found the backgrounds to be pretty sparse, especially in the first episode. There were shots where the backgrounds were just they didn't put much detail or much effort into a lot of them, and I think the character designs are a little ordinary. They especially Kudo, he just looks like a run-of-the-mill character, and this show isn't really one that requires a lot of animation, I would say, because it's more of a thought-provoking sort of talky show as opposed to let's run around and kick people's asses type of show. So the animation is passable, I think, but they don't really have to. They didn't have to put a whole lot into it, really. So I don't know. It wasn't really for me, I would say. I think this show has an audience probably, but I'm not the audience, I would say, for the show. So I know that a lot of people on the Discord were talking about it, and some people are enjoying it, but not for me. So I'm gonna have to say goodbye to Inspector. But I give you a good fail drop. I know,
Mandi, do you want to say anything since you did the manga minute on this?
I was just gonna say
manga minute. I mean, I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I think what I like that is different about this one than other spiritual shows that I've seen. The other ones are from a lot of the other ones I've seen, it's we need to help this person solve their yokai problem. And this one, it feels like we need to help this yokai with their human problem. And I don't know. I think it's a little bit. I think that makes it a little bit more interesting. I like crime dramas, so I was interested in the crime in the second and third episode. But I can't remember her name now because it's escaping my mind. But Cop Girl.
I was gonna say, how are you gonna do my girl Saki like that? She is.
Saki,
oh my goodness.
That's her name.
The second I saw her, I'm like, oh my goodness, she is great. And the more I saw her, I'm like, she's even better than I expected.
Yes.
I am all in on the show. I am really enjoying it. It's definitely very slow. It's very patience testing. I would say watch through episode 2 at least, and you'll very clearly know if it's for you or not. There is a very specific aesthetic it's going for, and it's not for most people. But
yeah, I was gonna say, to be fair, Mason and I like really talking shows.
yeah.
Yeah, I have ADHD and lose my focus really quickly. So, yeah, the second episode, she just basically stands there and just talks to the snake for 30 minutes, and I was like, it was a little hard for me. But there are people that this has an audience. I'm just not the audience. So
yeah, we'll be following it. At least Mandy and I will probably have thoughts on it. Like we'll talk about it and like what we've been watching. But at least watch episode 3. Just skip the 3 just so you can see Saki.
Just so you can see Saki.
Oh, she's so good.
Rush a yokai because she was like, "Fuck this! I'm just gonna tackle."
It didn't go well.
Saki's the best, man.
Chowing down on meat. Oh, it's so good.
And Mamoto Miyano. He also sings the ED, and it's wonderful because I love his voice.
All right, guys, what's next?
Heck yeah. Up next, we have the Case Files of Jeweler Richard. This is found over on Crunchyroll, and I'll jump through this pretty quickly. So, fittingly, this is done by Studio Shuko, which is the studio that broke away from Brain's Base, with Takahiro Omori as the director, who directed all like Durarara, Natsume, and the original anime 91 Days that we enjoyed. This is the first series that they've done in a couple of years, and it's based on a mystery light novel. And it follows a British jewelry appraiser and a Japanese high school student, because of course, who solve episodic like jewel-related cases. And I was expecting like a very Sherlock Holmes-esque feel of the mystery of how, jewels were involved with crimes or whatever these psychological aspects of the owners' lives. But essentially what I got was a little bit different. So first of all, the show is about 40% just facts about jewels. Which I do enjoy. It's just like, if you heat treat a jewel, how does it affect it? What about its rarity? Let's go to mineral shows. Let's talk about the grain structure. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about like the technical names for like a cat's eye and like what the strip of white down the middle is and how it varies in rarity. Like if you just want to know more about jewelry, and by that I mean like gems and stuff, it's interesting in that regard, and I don't mind that. Yes, very true. The show is 0% a mystery show. There is very little like investigation that goes on. Literally, a character comes into the shop, says, "Hey, how much is this worth? Because it makes me sad." And they're like, "Well, why are you sad?" And then they tell you why they're sad. It's like there's very little like investigation going on. It's very similar to Bartender. I would say if you've ever seen that show, it's like a slightly. Essentially, instead of the exchange of customer comes into shop, tells a story, and then the person, the calm, relaxed person, gives them a drink that like perfectly fits their mood or situation. Essentially, the person comes into the shop, says, "Here's a gem." They say, "This gem represents you," and they say, "Wow," and that's it, and they accept it and walk away. So there's 40% fact about jewels, 0% mystery. The show is 20% the Richard, the pretty blonde boy, telling Seigi, the pretty Japanese boy, to give everyone a chance and not to judge too quickly, which is a good message.
I'm making you a pie chart.
Oh,
heck yeah. Hopefully my numbers add up.
I did do math before this, damn it.
And he's just like, hey, don't judge people. Be nice to everyone. Don't, like, they're customers, but be nice to them. Like, accept them no matter what their race or creed. And that's all a good message. It's all good stuff. It's just a very moderately relaxing show. But the problem is, like, it doesn't capture, like, an interesting, like, human conditions. Like, they come in, they say, here's my gem. They say, why are you sad? They say, oh, no one loves me. And they say, well, no one loves this gem too, so it's very fitting. Haha, get right. It's not like that. But it's just like... It's they don't really scratch the surface. Like, they're just very baseline human conditions, and they get them wrapped up in an episode or two, but it just seems a little childish. Like, all the patrons are just very confused who just need counseling. They don't need to go to a gem appraiser. The show is 10% yaoi bait. It's definitely for Fujoshi to look at pretty boys, and they are pretty boys. I'll give them that. I don't know. It's a very bland show that is relaxing and is nice and easy to watch, but there's so little depth to it. And you can compare it to tons of other shows that are similar, but there's just nothing special about this one that's grabbing me. It's like Pet Shop of Horrors without the spookiness. It's like Death Parade without the bombastic setting. It's like Bartender without the maturity, and it's like Land of the Lustrous without the butts. So while the show is inoffensive and not bad, and I enjoy my time watching it, it's just its tepidity makes it a no-go, so I'm going to fail it.
Oh, pobrecita.
It is a travesty.
That one was from Mandi.
Everything that you said reminds me of Homes of Kyoto. Did you watch any of that one?
I don't believe so. Let me look it up though.
Where I was also expecting that to be like, because they call him the Sherlock Holmes of Kyoto, and there is a tiny bit of mystery in it, but most of it is like artifacts and like antiques and stuff. Was from what I gathered from like the first 5 episodes. I dropped it at 5. I might pick it up to finish it, but
yeah, maybe I'll watch an episode to see like how it compares.
That's just what it reminded me of.
When I go to recommendations on Mel, the top one is the Case Filers of Julia Richard. So
is it?
Someone else agreed with you. And maybe it's also because I was expecting a mystery and I'm watching like Kabukicho Sherlock, and that's way more like fun and exciting. That's more delivering what I wanted. But it's not bad. Just watch one episode of the show and you'll immediately know if it's for you or not. But like I say, the reason why I don't need a relaxing show is because of Somali. And and coincidentally, yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Alrighty, guys. I was so excited to talk about Somali. Yeah, so my next one is Somali and the Forest Spirit. And this one I did a manga minute on a little while ago. So it is a manga adaptation. And it is being adapted by State Light. Or no, I'm sorry, not State. Satellite. Is that how you say it, their name?
I always say Satellite, but
I just say Satellite.
Oh, you're right. I am dumb. That does say Satellite. I was trying very hard to make it sound Japanese.
Well, to be fair, it's not spelled like satellite. It's
right.
spelled with like Lite instead of Light. So I've made the same mistake before. So
okay,
no
good.
worries.
And they, if you don't know who they are, they did Log Horizon, Fairy Tail, Nanbaka. It's a few of the series that they have worked on. Somali is also available on Crunchyroll. So after I finish doing this, you should go watch it. I'm telling you to. And so Somali is set in a future where war caused by humans has almost completely wiped out humanity. And now these fantasy creatures and monsters are now the dominant races. And for a while, these creatures used to eat humans, and they used to keep humans as pets. But now humans are very rare and they hide themselves away. And the forests are protected by these giant golems. And the story begins when one golem discovers a little human girl who's chained up inside of his forest. And so the golem abandons his post and embarks on a journey to find this little girl's family, or at least try to find other humans that she can live with. And he dresses her up as a little Oni, which is so adorable. She has a little hood with little demon horns on it. It's so cute. And he dresses her up as an Oni so that she is able to go into, pass through territories without anyone realizing that she is a human. And the episodes are pretty episodic, with each one so far unveiling more of the world and the current situation humans are in, and also more the golem that is protecting this little child. And so far, each episode has been such a delight. It's both delightful and unsettling, because the demons in this world almost feel human. They have families. They're very welcoming of the golem and Somali. They welcome them with open arms, and they're very compassionate. But in the back of our minds, we know that should they discover Somali is a human, things could get dark very quickly, because they talk about eating humans just as like casually as we talk about like eating chicken. And the episodes uncover that the golem is on a very strict time limit as well, which adds more tension to every scene. And as for Somali, she's so cute. She's so adorable. And
someone said Mason was like a cinnamon roll. No, Somali
is a cinnamon roll.
She's looking like a snack.
Damn it, Mason. This is my impression. Get out of here.
Sorry.
But yeah, she's so sweet that and she I lost my place where I was in my notes. Anyways, but she's also just honestly just a good kid. Like she has this very childlike curiosity and innocence to her. And she's grown so attached to this golem and treats him like he is her father. And like he wants to find her family, or at least humans to live with, but right now she's honestly just so happy to live with her new adopted father and travel with him. And her curiosity does create a bit of tension here and there, because you're worried that maybe she might accidentally reveal herself as human at any moment, but it's not so frustrating that it's difficult to watch, because seeing her chase a demon cat while calling out, "Come on, come on," is just so adorable that you can't be mad at her. It's so cute. And she's also concerned about the obeying the wishes of her guardian as well. So she's not like a frustrating child to like have the entire series based on her. But it's fascinating to see like what see this dangerous world through her eyes as well. And the art is so gorgeous. It's fascinating. It's a very fascinating and unique world. The environments feel lively and warm. The forest is enchanting. There's a lot going on in the cities, and the animation's smooth, and the characters are so expressive. Some really nice character designs as well. It's just, all I can say is comfy. This show is just delightful, and I am so happy to pass it, because I can't wait for every episode to come out.
Yes! Now this is going to be a good story.
There you have it.
We watched this in the Discord, like not the anime club, but our like weekly watch party. We watched episode 1. We started it up. There's like a 1-minute intro scene, and then they do the OP. And by the end of the OP, I was fully in. I was smashing in all caps a message to Mandi, like, put this show on the docket. We are doing this. All systems are go. So
yeah, it's funny because I had the manga down for a future manga minute, but I hadn't read it. I was just like, oh, this looks interesting, and put it on the list. And when you told me that, I was like, that name sounds familiar. I looked at my list. I'm like, oh, maybe I should do manga minute next episode. So
yeah,
it's great.
Very relaxing.
I love Somali so much. Come on!
Wow. Well,
that's drop worthy.
There's a drop opportunity right there. All right. So I'm going to do Orphen, I guess. AKA Majutsushi Orphen Hagare Tabi, Sorcerer Stabber Orphen, which is an anime that came out a long time ago. Let's see how long ago.
98, I think.
Yeah, something like that. I'm trying to find it here. It's definitely old. Definitely from 98, from my childhood for sure. And
oh, I got that right on.
Yeah, that was right. October 98. Orphen is a character that has had an anime. It's had a game. It's had a second anime season.
Did it?
The game.
Are we going to admit?
Well, the game.
Let's define what a game is.
The game was
Let's
pretty.
define a game.
I mean, the game was pretty terrible. Yeah, that was like a launch PS2 title. It was pretty bad. So those launch PS2 games, other than Uncharted, were pretty rough.
Wasn't Dark Cloud? Wasn't that a launch? Am I wrong about that?
It might have been. I don't know. God, so long.
That was
ago.
good.
Yeah, Dark Cloud 2 especially I love. But anyway, so Orphen, this Orphen season is completely disappointing. I'm not going to bury the lead with it. Right from the theme song. Like, the original Orphen theme song is so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. But, like, this theme song is just totally... It's not as good, and it's just way over the top. Like, it's so unnecessary. They're just trying to make it look so cool. And in the end, it just isn't. It isn't really very cool at all. Probably one of the best appeals of the original Orphen was that Orphen himself is just a cool character. He's just, he kind of doesn't give a fuck. He's the guy that'll like break a glass in a bar just so he can like piece it back together with magic just to show you that he's a badass. But he has his motivations too, which namely are the same in this anime, which is that there's a girl named Azali who gets turned into a dragon while trying an experiment at this tower where they're all in basically magic school. It's like a dark version of Hogwarts, probably. I don't know, without any fun whatsoever. Called the Tower of Fang, And now Orphen in this season, even more so than the last Orphen that we watched 20 years ago, is just obsessed with saving her and bringing her back from, the dead or whatever. Or the dead, so to speak. She's a dragon flying around, be doing what dragons do. And it's just a little different. Like, the other characters in this show don't even matter. Cleo is like, she's like not even in it barely. Magic. So in the original Orphen, there was Cleo, Magic, there was Vulcan, and Dorton. Like, these were the four sort of lackeys, I guess, of Orphen, and they all were in the anime pretty prominently. Dorton and Vulcan were kind of comic relief. Magic was like this kid who wanted to learn magic, and so he was always hanging around Orphen because he wanted Orphen to teach him. Cleo was always kind of annoying, but like somehow you liked her anyway. And in this season, like, they're not even in it barely. Like, Magic is literally like in it for like maybe 5 minutes out of the first 3
That's
episodes.
so weird and disappointing.
He shows up in the bar where his dad is the owner or whatever, and that happens in the first season. But then ultimately, like, you never see him again. He doesn't do shit. Cleo, I don't even know why she's in it at all, but she pops up here and there just for no reason. Vulcan and Dorton are just, I don't even know why they're in it either. Like, they're just not important. And in this season, it's a lot of like the sorcerers from the Tower of Fang are trying to kill Ozzy by like shooting her out of the sky with magic, and then Orphen keeps showing up to disrupt them. And then in like the second and third episode, towards the end of the second episode, and then the whole third episode, they're going on like a hunt basically to save her, to kill her, and secretly Orphen wants to save her life, and things that are spoilers happen at the end of the episode, and it's just not good. Like, it's so disappointing. It's bad. Like, it's bad, like, oh man, it's just really bad. And Orphen is not nearly as cool. Not at all. He's got the same, I'm pretty sure he has the same voice actor as
The original.
Goro. Does he?
Mm-hmm. It's the same guy.
Well, okay.
Yeah, he's been voice acting for a long ass time.
Yeah, I guess so. If that's true, but what I was gonna say was he's the same voice as the guy who does Goro Shigeno from Major. He's the green and red haired dude from Yomushi Pedal. His voice is recognizable because he has like a weird nasally pitch to his voice. I recognize them immediately. He's just
Shotaro?
not.
That's his name.
Yeah, his name's Shotaro Morikubo, and he's prominent. He's a prominent voice actor, but he's just not. Orphen is just not cool in this. He's not a cool character at all. It's just a big disappointment. It's just another lump of dirt on Orphen's grave. I mean, the first season of Orphen was really quite interesting. The second season was abysmal. It was like, God, like, oh my God. Even when I was like a young anime viewer and I liked almost everything, I hated the second season of Orphen. The game was terrible, and this season is really bad. And it's just a bummer. It's just a real bummer because it could have been better. They are focusing more on like the story of Orphen and less on like the antics, but somehow it just seems that it still falls flat. So I'm gonna fail it with this drop.
Shame.
Because it's just such a shame.
Shame.
It could have been better.
Shame.
A lot better.
Shame.
During that review, I was just watching the original opening and the new opening just to compare them.
And
they were both pretty disappointing, but I could see why the old one was definitely much more iconic.
Well, it has like a 90s flair to it. I don't know. It
definitely does.
Yeah, I don't know. Goodbye, Orphen. I hope forever. I want to preserve you in my memory the way that I remembered you from when I was 14 years old, and not the way that I remember you since. So goodbye forever.
Even the new design for Bloody August is awful. The original Bloody August was massive. Now it's like this little tiny little dragon.
The dragon, you mean? Yeah. Which I don't even think.
Yeah, that's her name.
I don't even think
August.
I don't even think they refer to it as Bloody August in this season.
Oh, really?
I don't. Not that I recall. But yeah, the dragon looks very generic in this season, and then the last season it looked like a dragon that would just fuck your day up and eat your family.
It was massive.
It would eat your family and poop them out and laugh. And this dragon is just like a generic green dragon. So whatever.
Yeah.
Moving on. Orphen is it's such a disappointment. So sad. What is left here?
I think that's it.
Did we do all of them?
I think that's all we got.
Wow.
We did it.
Okay, we did them all. Wow, look at that. Wow.
All we got was the passive Somali.
Yeah, so here's where we stand, guys. We've passed 5 shows. We have Eizoken Niwa Teideo Dasuna, we passed Bofuri, the defense show. Totally Bound Hanako-kun, Pet, and Somali of the Forest Spirit. That's 5 shows we've passed. We got 5 more reviews to do. We have Infinite Dendrogram, Ishizoku Reviewers, Dodo Hey Dodo, Oda Cinnamon Nobunaga, and Kyutei Dragons. And barring something extremely unexpected, we're going to have retro reviews for this season, I think. So get ready for that, because I don't think we're going to pass Ishizoku Reviewers.
And Gyoza.
No?
What is...
We'll see.
And Gyoza reviews.
Yeah.
But that's it, guys, for today. Thank you so much for listening. We made some pretty decent time. We got Super Bowl things to get to. But of course, again, if you want to help out the podcast, aaapodcast.com/join. You can help us out for sure. Help keep the podcast running. Which is very appreciated always. And of course, social media. Mandi, where can we find you on social media?
Yeah, you can find me at Twitter at AAA_Mandi with I. And I'm not as active as I normally am recently. I don't know. I have a lot going on.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of Warcraft taking up my time. But I talk about nerdy shit, so come follow me and make fun of Mason.
Yeah, that's the place to do it. Mitz, what are your predictions for the game today? Real quick. Let's hear them.
I believe the 49ers will win a close game. I think that they're the more complete team. I expect the game to be high scoring, but I don't think they'll score a lot of points in the first quarter. Teams tend to be stiff in the Super Bowl. It will take them most of the first half to loosen up. Expect maybe 20 total points in the first half and then a lot of points in the second half. 49ers will win because their defense will come up big at the end. You can find me at Pope Mitsugi on Twitter. Please join the Discord. I think that's really the best place for everybody to be right now for the podcast. Until something better comes along, Discord is where it's at. Guys, I love you all. Go watch the Super Bowl. Eat a lot of tacos or whatever. And, I hope everyone has a good week. So we'll see you next time. See you next week.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Take
Have
care.
Have a good one, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.